Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Niko House, and you can catch my live radio show on Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, 4 p.m. Pacific, Mi Casa es Su Casa, where it is mandatory to talk politics at the dinner table. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about the scariest thing about this Pizzagate scandal, conspiracy, whatever you would like to call it. I want to talk about what's so scary to me about this. And the reason I say this is scary is because this is something that I've seen time and time again, probably in my lifetime, never more than I've seen during this election cycle. If this were a drug dealer, or if this was a drug ring, if this was a gun smuggler, this was were black market transactions, and the FBI had cracked the coded language to allow them to know that these people may not be guilty. However, we have reasonable enough suspicion that we should at least, at minimum, investigate the situation. I'm saying this because I've seen this because of my background and where I'm from. I've seen this time and time again. I've seen people who have had too many cars leaving and coming into their driveway, too many people knocking on their doors, and then 2 weeks later, cops raided their building or raided their house. The reason that they learn the coded language is because eventually the coded language ends up leading to investigation. The investigations ends up leading to indictments. Indictments end up leading to guilty or not guilty. But once again, the mainstream media is trying to determine the narrative of this story. Why is this dangerous, you might ask? Because this is the same mainstream media who tried to label the attacks on Bernie Sanders and the illegal collusion between the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign a conspiracy theory. This is the same mainstream media that said that the Clinton campaign was allowed to collude with her super PACs like the Hillary Victory Fund. This is the same mainstream media who swore to you constantly that they were not colluding with Hillary Clinton's campaign, and they were. This is the same mainstream media who pushed the narrative of Russia when we know that was false. This is the same mainstream media who portrays Black Lives Matter as some hate group. And what upsets me the most are that the people, the same ones who attacked Hillary Clinton during her email scandal, saying that she should have been indicted, and she should have, saying that at the very least, take her to trial and investigate it further, which that would be her due process, and it would have been well warranted. But these same people, now that the election is over, have gone back and reverted to what I like to describe as the ego taking over your common sense. People have become so egotistical, and I don't mean this they're not obnoxious about it or pompous about it, but their egos have become so fragile that they don't wish to be ridiculed by their peers for using common sense and basic logic and reasoning skills, using precedents. They're using the ones who are criticizing Hillary Clinton and the FBI for not allowing them to prosecute or at least indict. Those same people are using the same arguments that Hillary fans were whenever they were like, oh, it was just right-wing conspiracy. They're just attacking Hillary Clinton. They're just, demonizing Hillary Clinton because she's a woman, because of blase, 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 blah. I will tell you this. The day that we allow elites to not be upheld to the same standards as the everyday human being, the everyday United States citizen, the everyday electorate, we have lost this country. I remember reading about how people thought the Holocaust was a conspiracy theory. It was constantly swept under the rug. Nobody wanted to talk about it because it was so scary. It involved so many that people wanted to have better faith in humanity, and they didn't want to face the fact that it could be true. And we stayed silent for too long. I'm not saying Pizzagate is true. I'm not saying Pizzagate is false. But what I am saying is, I'm tired of seeing banter back and forth as to whether something is true or false or right or, that's not how we solve these problems. What we should all, left, right, moderate, should be calling for is an investigation. Because at minimum, that is probable cause for investigation. These words have been used entirely out of context. They match up with the FBI code words for pedophilia and human trafficking. And yet people are so scared that their peers will criticize them. Julian Assange is a very intelligent human being, as we've seen. He wouldn't put out something like this if it didn't have weight to it. Once again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm telling you from what I know. As a paralegal who did used to investigate these type of things I've been involved in pedophilia cases, and I've been involved in drug trafficking cases. Whenever we see coded words, whenever the authorities see coded words, at the very least, it leads to investigation. Can we at least have that? If we have a chance, an opportunity to stop this horrific ordeal from happening, can we at least agree that we should be investigating? Thank you all. Please share this video and subscribe. Much love.